Vishwanathan Anand sacrifices his rook in this match against Vasyl Ivanchuk, which result in a winning position for Anand and forces Vasyl Ivanchuk to resign the game. So after knight to f6, d4 is played, making this the Russian game modern attack, and Anand is playing here with the white pieces and Ivanchuk with the black pieces here. So this knight captures this unprotected e4 pawn, and bishop goes to d3 attacking the knight, and pawn push to d5 supporting the knight, and after which this e5 pawn is captured by Anand's knight, and knight comes to d7 attacking the knight on e5, and knight captures the knight and bishop captures the knight back. Castles on the king side by Anand as of the seventh move, and queen now comes to h4 here, launching an early attack on Anand's king side. So pawn push to c4 now, allowing you to bring out your pawn, and now you can also develop your knight with your pawn out over here, and you can also develop your dark square bishop easier now. So castles on the queen side, signifying this will be quite an attacking game, and pawn push to c5 by Anand, looking to put more pressure on that castle king on the queen side. Pawn push to g5 in return by Ivanchuk, and knight comes to c3 now, putting more pressure on this e4 knight, which is only defended once of the here. So bishop goes to g7, counterattacking this d4 pawn. So in case you capture the knight, you can win back the pawn that you lose on e4 here. Pawn push to g3 attacking the queen, and the queen goes to h3, keeping up the pressure on the king side of Anand. So knight captures the knight and pawn captures back, and after which the bishop captures this particular pawn back. So the bishop to b5 now attacking the rook on the f1 square, and instead of moving the rook, bishop goes to g2 attacking the queen, and the queen goes to f5 over here. So bishop to e3 now, protecting this particular d4 pawn. It's not ideal to keep your bishop like this. Basically, it's like a tall pawn now, bishop. So because in an active position, this is not a good position to be in. So now this this light square bishop can capture this rook, and it get captured, and the bishop captures back, and rook to e8 is now played by Ivanchuk. A better move would be to push your pawn over here to c6, preventing this pawn from pushing any further and attacking the king side. But he played rook to e8 now, and queen goes to a4, attacking the pawn on a7, and the king moves to b8, protecting the pawn on a7. Rook to d1 now, basically protecting the pawn and also developing, allowing you to develop the rook over here to d3 later on. So pawn push to c6, and rook now comes to d3 with the support of this bishop. That's also a pressure point here on the rook by the queen. So once the queen goes to e4 here, trying to keep this pressure on this weakened light square diagonal of white, rook now goes to a3 now, creating more pressure on the a7 pawn over here, and therefore pushes a6. This a6 is unavoidable, and bishop now goes to d3, attacking the queen, and the queen goes to g4 now. A better move would be to place your queen here over at d5, but instead queen to g4 is played, but it's still fine as of now. Anand is slightly better in the game, and rook to b3 is now played, making these two pawns hanging, because this pawn here is pinned, and in case of a capture, you cannot capture back. So instead of trying to protect one of the pawns or moving the king, Ivanchuk plays bishop to d4, which is a blunder, because this allows Anand to sacrifice his rook like this, rook into b7 plus check, and once Ivanchuk capture this king, there is an incredible attack going to happen. Not an incredible, but a good attack is going to happen. Queen goes to a6 check with the support of this bishop over here, and once the king moves to b8, queen goes to b6 with a check, and after the king moves to a8, this pawn is now captured again and with a check, and once the king moves here, again b6 plus check, and after this bishop goes to b5 here, with the intent of bringing your bishop here to the c6 square, and if you don't do anything about it, it will be a checkmate on the board. So because of that, rook comes to c8, and now after this particular bishop to c6 plus move, basically you will have to capture this uh, bishop with your rook, and after which the queen captures back, and once after this rook is also gone now, and once this bishop captures, you can still capture this pawn, and after which you can capture this particular bishop back with your pawn or with your queen, depending upon how the game proceeds. So because of this, as of this position, Ivanchuk resigned the game and Anand won the match. So that's the game. It's not a long game, just 28 moves, and quite a nice sacrifice by Anand. You can see these black pieces are very well positioned and is attacking the king side. Rooks are active, semi-active right now, but the control of over these dark squares make it very difficult for Ivanchuk with an exposed king side. So thanks for watching. We'll be back with more such videos.